Welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is on data chaos and it's BMC Helix Discovery and Dashboards to the rescue. What we're going to be covering today is a live demo and a couple of presentation slides. And with Matt Lambie, my lead product manager, today we are joined by Jason Campbell, Director of GTO Multi-Client Services from CGI. He will do a formal introduction shortly, but before we get started, let me just remind you where you can put your questions. So you will see at the bottom there is the live Q&A section. If you've got any questions during the session, please put them in there and we will have roughly around 15 to 20 minutes at the end where we will take your questions live. We will also try to answer them while we're presenting, but most of the questions will be answered at the end. Until that time, you will remain muted. We have a lot to cover today, and we're really excited to have Jason here. So Jason, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to you for your introduction and to get us started. Over to you.
All right. Thanks, Sam. So my name is Jason Campbell. I've been working with BMC as a partner for the last 10 or so years on multiple platforms. My focus in CGI Canada is around managed services and tools that generally focus on innovations and efficiencies. So we're always trying to work to improve our clients' value within the environments. Let me kind of jump in here and kind of cover a little bit of what we do with Discovery and how we use it. So Discovery for us is more than a starting point. It's actually more a core part of modern IT. So it gives us visibility into assets. It keeps our team to be up to date and accurate. Well, in ITSM, it does support additional capabilities like incidents and change management, but it does provide us trusted data for a lot of our real-time dashboards and improves overall our ITOM tools. So all of this sets the stage for AI Ops, which is where we see IT operations is heading and where we are currently bringing all of our clients. Now, AI needs accurate, up-to-date data, and that's exactly what we get from Discovery. It's not just about collecting the information, though. It's how do we use that information to help us drive and make smarter decisions, automations, and drive more innovation in the clients. So now Discovery isn't just about listing assets. It's about understanding how they relate and how they interact within our environments. So in our current IT landscape, a simple inventory isn't enough. Discovery gets much more, the relationships, configurations, even the asset dependencies. It provides a vast amount of raw data, and this is essential for us to manage our risk, plan changes, even respond to issues effectively. Now, how many times we've been in a position where we've been told by security that we have a vulnerability, we leverage things like Discovery to give us context to how that vulnerability applies to us. Now, this information capabilities are important, not just for us, like for our business, and this visibility supports better decisions, cost controls, and even more reliable service delivery. Now, some real-world use cases where Discovery has helped us. These are not the only ones, but they are some that stood out and are recent. So recently, we did deploy a Discovery to a brand new client. We quickly uncovered some pretty valuable insights into their data. So one, we worked with our FinOps team and Discovery to identify an unnecessarily APM deployment that was currently in their environment. And I do not mean APMs are unnecessary and are not useful. What I mean was they're essential, but optimizing their deployment to drive more value. And this value ended up being over $60,000 annually saved by prioritizing and optimizing the deployment of the application. And this was all pointed to by Discovery, giving us the information upfront and quickly. In another case, Discovery's data was used to assess a client's planned on-prem to GCP migration. Now, based off the assessment, this would have more than doubled the overall infrastructure costs. And finding out early gave us the ability to adjust their migration strategy. And this was not about stopping it, but changing the strategy to better align it for efficiencies. So a key takeaway is that Discovery gives us the data we need to drive that cost savings and smart decisions. But the challenge is with all the data, how do we quickly find these insights? So I'll pass it over to Matt to introduce some of the new dashboards focused on Discovery that will hopefully drive more value for you and not just us. So over to Matt.
Thank you, Jason. And just to follow suit, my name's Matt Lambie. I am a product manager for Discovery over here at BMC. And I've been working with Discovery for about 15 years. So hopefully we can drive some value with people like Jason and yourselves to really drive the opportunities with discovery data, with Helix dashboards, and with the platform as a whole. And I'll just grab the screen. So I thought we might take some time today to look at some examples of dashboards to help drive a value to you and your business, whether that be your leadership or your operations teams, to be able to really see data in context, to drive the value using context and color to really draw the eye for awareness of your environment. And if we look at the dashboard here, the lead-in dashboard, we've got some data at the top with a nice representation of population of devices spread around the planet. And to the eagle-eyed amongst you, you'll see that Manchester suddenly is in somewhere in Eastern Europe. I do apologize for that one. But it shows discovery data in a representative way that is easily identifiable. And if we go into some of the dashboards, we're going to start with host profile. So this is an opportunity to see how discovery and dashboards can really drive value to you and your business. This data primarily is centered on discovery. So all of the attributes, all of the software, this is all discovery data. But we're actually bringing together, we're curating and collating data from across Helix. At the top, we've got some data coming out of discovery. We've got a device. We know it's in production. We know when we last saw it. We know where it is. We have a representation on the map here. But then we've also drawn in ITSM data. So we know that the owner for that device is Alan. We know it's unallocated, blah, blah, blah. We also know it's deployed. So if we have a record in discovery that is not showing as deployed in the CNDB or in ITSM, that may be an area of interest. Where dashboards really comes out is the coloring. So being able to identify to your leadership or your operations teams in 30 seconds or less things that may be of interest. And in this dashboard here, we have this device is not, we do not know what function this device is underpinning. We do not know if it's a member of any business services, any technical services. That could be something for a candidate for removal from the environment, or it may be providing one of our central business services, but we don't know about it. And therefore, if we look to AI Ops or if we look into ITSM for impact, we're not aware what that server is doing. We also know that it's hosting some end-of-life software going back for a good 3 years. And this 3 here is represented down in the bottom corner here with the actual detail. So using color again to really draw the eye, that may be an area of interest. We haven't spotted any or witnessed any changes, whether that be versions or compute allocations. We haven't seen any in the past month, but we are aware that there's an event open in BHOM. We do know that device has an event correlated to it. We could click on that, we can click through, we can go to BHOM and see that data. Strangely, there's no incident raised against it. So we have an event, but we have no incident in ITSM. Could be an area of interest, but it's green because we have no open incidents. And for the capacity people on the call, I'll be honest, I don't know what 326 is in a capacity world, but that's the score that capacity has given to it. And then if this device was a member of any services, we'd have some services shown here. We have software installed on and running on the devices. We have changes that we've witnessed in the past 90 days. So have we seen the versions change on any software? Have we seen hardware versions changing on on the device? It really brings together an overview of this device. And just to finalize this, we have the ability to change the device, pick the device we want using dashboards. It's very simple. We can say, show me all the network devices. I want a network device. I'm going to randomly pick one and hopefully it won't look awful. So this device looks good. We know what it is, where it is. It's not actually in the CNDB aligned, so there is an area of interest here. Why is this not aligned? So maybe there's a reconciliation issue in the CNDB. We have no, it's not in capacity, so we have not been able to identify this, but equally we have no events, we have no changes. It's a good looking device from a, there's no immediate danger on this device. So if we go back, oh, I seem to have broken the world, I do apologize. So another dashboard that's been of huge interest is data that Discovery has out of the box. So Discovery does a lot of enrichment, a lot of Discovery, as we know, as Jason mentioned, all about relationships. We know the context of what is talking to what is underpinning of what business services, what technical services devices are a part of. We also discover certificates. And there's a lot of interest in, we've all had that example of trying to log into the payroll system or the holiday booking system, and you get the horrible pop-up on the browser that says unknown URL. And it always comes down to a certificate expired yesterday and the web service is not available. This dashboard allows us to be more proactive in maintaining our customer-facing, internal-facing web services, to be more secure, to be more productive as a business. For example, here, I might want to go and have a look at these two red ones. What are those certificates hosting? Are they providing part of our business service? Are they part of a business service? And so really drawing your attention to trying to get everything to be live certificates. And equally, you may have old certificates that have been replaced, but you still have them deployed on your environment. We can use data like that to represent here where you have stale certificates that may be of interest in cleaning up from a security perspective. So another one that has been quite interesting is drift management. So in your ITIL, in your ITSM, you may well have a full-fledged drift management capability. But Discovery also has awareness of data. It can see changes occurring on your infrastructure. So if software is changing or your operating system versions, and the examples we're using here are versions of software and operating system version and hardware compute allocations. Discovery can see those things happening. And in this example, we are seeing changes occurring across the environment in the past 7 days, which is a variable that we can change to the time slot. But we've seen 14 software changes in the past 7 days. So we scan daily. If we see a difference in the version between scans, we report that here. We see 14 of them. By bringing together Discovery data with ITSM data, we can then start to say, well, of those 14 changes, are they all aligned to a change record in ITSM? And in this example here, it is a lab, I will call this out. We have 2 records that we don't know what they are. We don't know who did it, why it was done. It was not managed in a formal manner. Now in production, that's not a very good idea. It could be that those 2 changes happen to have caused an outage in AIOps, and we don't know who upgraded the software. There is deeper dive beyond this. We can expand all of the data, but from the dashboard's perspective, we really want awareness rather than the deep dive data. And we have seen customers who will use cross-launch. They will click on things and it will take you to the data. They will extend down with the full-fledged data below. But from a dashboards, the best outcome has been the bright coloring. And another area of interest is data flow. So Discovery is a data source. And to ITSM folks, we know that Discovery is a data source. But to manage and maintain awareness of our data flows, whether that be ingesting data through things like intelligent integrations through Discovery, and the top row here is showing that we have that ability to ingest additional information or additional records from things like BHOM or Intuity or Dynatrace. That data all flows through Discovery and is reconciled and then pushed to the CNDB. And here we can see that we've got quite a lot of stuff coming through BHOM, the Helix monitoring capabilities, but then we're also taking source data from other places. And then in the top right, you've got a very brief count of, do I roughly have 1,000 devices on my estate? I'm happy today. Now at the bottom of the screen, we start to look at opportunities for keeping an eye on your data. So in the first pie chart, we have a report of IP addresses that Discovery has heard about, but it is not directly scanning itself. That would then infer that we don't have end-of-life data. We don't have good data going into the CNDB. We don't have an awareness of relationships for inclusion in things like service modeling for consumption, whether that be for impact and change, or whether that be for your AI opt outcomes. There are a lot of IP addresses in this environment of things that we are not scanning, and therefore we don't have good data. Equally, we don't have good data. There are 1,500 virtual machines running in a vCenter somewhere. We've scanned vCenter. We have awareness of those virtual machines, but we haven't done the full scanning, the deep dive scanning into the operating systems. So again, we don't have software, we don't have versions, end of life. Potential, yes, you could include things like virtual machines in service models, but you don't get the good relationships to create that great outcome. And just a bit of an extra one. For a lot of compliance requirements, things like knowing where your devices are, for ticket allocations, for incidents, to get those tickets to the right people at the right time, knowing where a device is really helpful. And so Discovery can underpin that information into the CNDB. And the example here is using subnets to know that subnet is in the UK or in London, or that subnet is in, Jason, I'm going to hazard a guess, Ottawa or somewhere like that. To know where your devices are really allows us to support regulatory compliance and a ticket allocation and enriching using data from Discovery. And then the final one that we have is paying attention to things that are unexpected. So Discovery in this example has seen and is aware of 79 devices, servers, that it has scanned in the past, but it hasn't scanned in the past 2 days, 2 weeks, whatever those configurations may be. We have an awareness of things appearing to disappear off the environment. So it's definitely worth investigating before things start disappearing out of service models, or records start disappearing out of the CNDB. And I think that was all of the ones I was going to show. I'm going to actually hand back over to Jason on the last dashboard to do the talking, because I think, Jason, you've really got a good experience with this one. So over to you.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Now, this dashboard was designed to correlate data from multiple Helix sources and drive a quick overview into our clients. So we called it the operations command dashboard. Allows us to track high-level services and where we have issues. It gives us insight to the anomalies in the environment, and it's been a very big value for some of our customers. It came from that literal 100,000 foot or meter view to see all of Canada on a map. And before anyone does ask, I did look up to see how far I would have to go before I could see all of Canada. And with this, we can now track individual locations, see potential widespread issues. Like for anybody that was in Ontario or Quebec yesterday, a major telecom issue or a power outage impacting entire regions. The dashboard's value for us is really to help drive context. Not just this one, but all the dashboards help us drive context. Helping us make sense of all the data that comes with Discovery so that we can quickly work to addressing our business IT needs and drive value back to the customers or even our own internal business. That's all I have for this one.
I want to add
thank you, everybody. Oh,
I want to add one really cool thing that a lot of people have really enjoyed is that one red dot in the United States, and how that is bringing together Discovery data to put the circle on the map and using event data to color code based on impact. So that's one that's been of quite a lot of interest to a lot of people, is how dashboards really is this melting pot of all the data to get the best outcome that we are looking for. With that, I think it's back over to you, Sam.
Hey, we do have a couple of questions actually, so I'll start with those. And seeing as they're both from Ryan, I am just going to find Ryan. If he wants to speak with us also live, Ryan, feel free to come off mute. I'll start you off with your first question. So his first question was, this is Helix dashboard showing CMDB data gathered from Discovery. It is looking at everything or just the data center, and are these out-of-the-box dashboards that are available? And Ryan, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just noticing that the way that, I mean, we have Discovery and we're going to the cloud, we'll have dashboards. Is this the kind of thing that this is a dashboard pack we download and deploy, or do we have to build all this stuff?
I'll take that one. It's not out of the box at the moment, but I work quite closely with the dashboard team to develop and deploy new content. So some of these dashboards today are a flavor of some of the stuff we've seen customers doing, but and to demonstrate that it is completely flexible. But if there is appetite, as we're hearing today, and also from our customers, I am looking to get those into full-on out-of-the-box content. And
then the ops dashboard was a similar question. So that ops dashboard, is that dynamically updating based on service status of services in the CMDB, or is that something that we're setting manually? Like sometimes our network center likes to control what the humans see as really up and down.
So the ops command one, the last one I showed, it is completely dynamic. It's pulling data from BHOM, AIOps, and Discovery to build it out itself. So there's nothing you have to statically set in there. We drop that into individual clients as we bring them into AIOps, and it adjusts for what models they have, what systems they're monitoring, and what's being detected in Discovery.
That's pretty neat. Thank you.
So, and the same with the CMDB as well. All of the ones that we were looking at earlier, they are using Discovery. They're using Discovery as the starting point, but you could equally start with CMDB, and it's just the collation of that information. So whatever you want as your identifier, whether it's a host name, whether it's a CI name, you could, as long as that data can be mapped across the tooling, then, so as long as your reconciliation is good and you're not doing too much manipulation in your normalization, then it just looks for the same stuff. So Discovery's pushing to the CMDB, it knows what format that data looks like. So you just key on the name or the unique identifiers, and it just brings that data together. It's querying both at the same time. And in Jason's one, it's querying BHOM at the same time as Discovery. And in the other ones, like the host profile, we're querying Discovery, BHOM, capacity, and ITSM all in the same dashboard. Does that answer the questions, Ryan?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your questions. Okay, if you haven't got any further, we've got another question that's come into the Q&A. I'm not sure who this is from, but it says, fantastic dashboards. I can see you laughing, Matt. Can we get the JSON export of them?
Absolutely. Drop us a line and we'd love to have some conversations with you. There's, I can't speak for the last one. That's actually one of Jason's, but for the other ones, absolutely. Reach out to us and we'll have a conversation.
I can provide that one to you.
So whoever did ask that question, if you want to drop me a line, you should have my details. I will put you in contact. And if anyone else is interested, let us know. There will be a survey.
Just to grow on that question a little bit, is we actually really enjoy getting the opportunity to work with our customers purely for that opportunity to understand what is of interest. To talk slightly to yourself to the next question, Eric, the best practices are whatever Google tells us, but there are opportunities in every single customer to understand how you consume, how you view your data, how you consume the common data model, how you manage your eventing. to understand how that works and to offer that sort of flexibility in dashboards, I think is part of the opportunity we have here with working directly with customers. And Eric, absolutely reach out again. We can have a chat on best practices on joining. I will be very, very honest and say, I know Discovery, I don't know ITSM, I don't know BHOM, and I don't know BCO or HCO to be able to do the best joins. So always open to being told I've done it wrong.
Sounds good. I appreciate that. Yeah, I wasn't sure if, I know you touched on a little bit, maybe joining on names or things like that between systems, but I wasn't sure if with the dashboards that were displayed, like using the ADDM integration ID attribute, that can exist in both systems. And it may be dependent on, we have custom reconciliation rules for identification, right? So, maybe aligning on that to make sure that the record that we have in Discovery matches the one that we're pulling out of the CMDB.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's what the ITSM dashboards are doing. They're going to assets, so we do need to make sure. And the ADDM IDs, the host names, the CI names, it's looking for the best practice in there. So always open to being challenged on that. ADDM ID is the better one. I just had a very dirty data set to build a lab from. Thank you, Virgilio. Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe I'll drop you an email and we can have a conversation.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any other questions?
Hello.
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 My question is to Matt. I've just heard you speaking about that you're willing to speak with the customers to understand the environment and how is the data is managed and the events. So taking this initiative, can we schedule a call maybe? And maybe we can show you the environment and can have some dashboard recommendations that would help us get an overview over the environment, maybe get some more details that take us some more time to fetch. So would that be possible?
Absolutely.
I have all the details, certainly for those that have actually registered with their full name. I'll pass those on to Matt and introduce you.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Okay, do we have anyone else that's got a question that they want to take live? So I think if we don't have any further questions, I don't know if there was a key takeaway or anything specific, Jason, that you wanted to leave with the audience just around what you've been doing with dashboards firstly, and then we'll go to Matt.
Yeah, it's I said the dashboards in itself, its value is around providing context, helping point through things. One of the things I do stress with our customers, if we can't help you point to an area of improvement or efficiencies in a 15-second glance, I'm taking too much of your time. So the value that we see in dashboards is pinpointing where we should be looking to drive quicker returns, quicker value. So it's the biggest value I can say for the dashboards and Discovery.
Thank you, Jason. And Matt?
Very similar, same lines. We're not looking to use dashboards to be a center point for creating, I used to call them rainbow spreadsheets, the 49,000 rows of green with one row of red at the end. It brings the opportunity to really get that 15-second glance of, am I good, am I not? That's where dashboards has power.
I always get scared when I say if we finish, we close. So Ryan, another question from you. Feel free to come off mute again. So he's asking, has BMC tied it to NIST's security manager?
Yeah, for things like that would be you were alluding to security issues that Discovery may have found stuff that wasn't on the network or shouldn't be on the network or whatever. But Nessus is the U.S. government's scanning tool. Tried talking to that yet, pulling that in and correlating that data, because that would be huge thing, right?
Powerful.
Desktop shows, hey,
Absolutely.
this software, this vulnerability on this machine.
So we do have a product called, I believe it's called VulnOps, which may have the same data. It would be interesting to continue the conversation with you. I have not seen dashboards communicating with Nessus, but I would definitely take the question away to get you a better answer.
Thanks. Yeah, I didn't think VulnOps was in the ATO yet. That's what I was asking.
That's why I want to take it away and get you a better answer. Okay. So Ryan, I'd be really interested in, if you don't mind, just reaching out to see some of your thoughts, what opportunities you see.
After seeing those pictures, I have a lot of idea. We have our same DB is tied into 5 or 6 different sources in 2 different classifications, different remedies, and Helixes talking to each other. I mean, the idea of showing the 5 dials across the top for data source integrity, kind of like CMDB dashboard does now, but then showing the lists of where the points are. That was a really good display.
We didn't show it today. I'm going to speak to some of the others, if you guys don't mind. Data quality. So I alluded to it with the coverage, the ingestion, is there are requirements that you will have, whether that be for regulatory compliance, whether that be for just your own internal governance, to say, I need serial numbers, or I need versions, or I need X, Y, Z. And we can have dashboards that show you all the beautiful data. But what we also want to make sure we're looking at is, where am I not meeting those standards? Where am I not getting good data? So you can use dashboards to have a screen full of red dials that says, here's a load of stuff that doesn't have serial number. You've got, or you're at 50% with your serial number. And I always pick on serial number, by the way. So to use dashboards to look at the not so good as well as the great, that's part of the opportunity with the product. I think we've opened a can of worms with this, Jason.
I have a question regarding the operations dashboard. We can see it has total number of critical events, major events, and that is coming from different sources, probably from bhome, App Dynamics, Dynatrace. So in our environment, we're facing a challenge that we have a similar dashboard that, but this dashboard just keeps on timing out and signing out. So it isn't really reliable that the team that is monitoring these dashboards to keep on refreshing the dashboard or signing in every once in a while. So my question here, is there any workaround where we can have like a public dashboard that doesn't have to, that the user doesn't have to sign in, or it can maybe auto refresh so that the user doesn't have to continuously keep on signing in every once in a while?
I wish I'd kept my screen share going, because it's been refreshing on me every 30 seconds in the background. So I apologize. It's I've still got that Jason's dashboard open, and it is auto refreshing. So perhaps we could take that conversation and see what the opportunities are.
Definitely.
I think we've got quite a few people that want to follow up on the export as well. So I'll share everyone's details that have shared it with me. And if you haven't got time now, when I send the thank you email out with all the content we shared today, there is a really short survey. If you just add your contact details in, I will pass you on to Matt and Jason, and I'm sure we're going to have some follow-up conversations. I know when Jason took this on, I did say there's always more than one. Before we disappear, actually, because we've still got obviously a little bit of time, Angela's asked a question. Could we share the ops dashboard screen again? I don't know, Angela, if you want to come off mute. Is there anything specifically you want to discuss? Can you hear us?
Can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Hi, Angela.
Can you hear me?
We can. Hello.
Yep.
Okay. Now, while they were discussing it, I just wanted to see it. I was looking at the map, just trying to understand what we're looking at. I joined the call a little late, so I was just trying to follow along as the questions were being asked about the dashboard. So that was really it. Nothing pertaining to the dashboard specifically.
Okay.
Yeah. So the map in itself, it's using Discovery's locations to map it down to, say, street level. So in the case that we put this together for, it was a retail client, and they wanted to see the status of every single store and if any POS terminals, if anything went down. So it's live and it can see everything about it. So we can flag if a store starts having issues, they start turning red, like the red dot in the US there.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you for those that have put their comments in there. And Angela, I've seen yours as well, so I will share everyone's email addresses with the team.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is, I don't know who this has come from, but I don't have your JSON export file, but is using your data, the Discovery ADDM dataset or BMC asset as processed from recon and normalization, will there be a connector that we can use for Discovery going forward?
So the dashboards that we've shown today, and generically, we would always look to take from asset because we have a copy of the import data sets within Discovery itself. And it's the import data sets aren't where we're consuming from. We're consuming from asset. So everything in here is looking in Discovery and trying to map to the same record in BMC asset. And as Eric mentioned earlier, if you have reconciliation or workflows that's manipulating data from the import data sets, you may choose to use something like the ADDM integration ID that really locks down the specific CIs as they go from one technology through to the other. Or you may just use something very vanilla, just say match on name. So it's flexible, but these have all come out of asset. It's looking to map to the asset data set.
And to the other part about the how to connecting into Discovery. So all these are built off of using the Smart Graph API connection. Right now, that's how we pull directly from Discovery.
So
I don't know. Yeah, so
we took a lot of years of different people's notepads of queries and pasted them into Discovery and made them look amazing. So one of the great things with dashboards is that you can literally take a query out of Discovery and paste it in, and then manipulate it and present it how you so wish. And likewise to any other product, you can paste in your BHOM queries, your ITSM queries. It really does have that sort of centralization of those product specialists can just provide their queries and you can bring it all together here.
We don't have any more questions. We can wrap the session. Thank you, everyone.